Last Pint Productions presents the New Way podcast. The New Way contains adult content, and new episodes are released most Wednesdays. So back off, man. We're professionals. Listener discretion is advised.
So you were in Vietnam, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah?
Were you in the shit?
Yeah, I was in shit.
Last night, Darth Vader came down from planet Vulcan and told me that if I didn't take Lorraine out, that he'd melt my brain.
Here's how you get him. He pulls a knife, you pull a gun. He sends one of yours to the hospital, you send one of his to the morgue.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
Everybody wants to be naked and famous. Everybody wants to be just like me. I'm naked.
Will you help teach me about this? What is it? A new way?
Hello! Welcome back to the New Way podcast.
What year is it?
We are here. We are back in the studio. Matt Shank. I'm joined by Benjamin Scott Wilson.
Oh my God, I'm alive.
I'm joined by Nicholas Santa Croce.
I'm like Marissa Tomei at the Oscars. I'm just happy to be here, guys. Just happy to be here.
Joined by Ryan Alexander Hamilton.
Okay.
And we're joined by Mr. Patrick Barrett on the Zoom. Thank you so much. You've been a wonderful audience. We'll talk to you next time.
Good show.
Cheers.
Good show, everybody.
Just kidding. We
Wait, we're
are
leaving?
actually back on the New Way podcast where we break down pop culture so you don't have to. We have been off the airwaves since April 6th.
And we're still not prepared. for
And
this
we
episode.
are you are just strap in, kids, because we couldn't even get through a sound test without having just a lot of cacophony going on. But I am in the studio with our special co-host guest, Mr. Benjamin Scott Wilson, of course, as we said.
Special?
We'll talk about why.
So special.
Ben's going to let us know why we've been off for 3 months. They do, Ben. They really do, and you know especially. But we also have in studio from Los Angeles, Nick Santa Croce.
Great soundboard work so far. Matt. I just
I'm trying.
to know.
Really worked hard on this intro and nothing else.
It was great.
And of course, Ryan Alexander Hamilton here. How's it going, Ryan?
Doing great. I had to come to a state that made me feel a little bit better about being from Texas.
Oh.
Jesus. That is terrifying.
Whoa, and shots fired.
And joining us from Los Angeles on Zoom, we got Patrick Barrett.
It's a pleasure to have this experience with you back.
He has been speaking in Werner Herzog for 3 months on his own.
He wants to see the child.
This is how
Vernon Herzog.
I do think we should preface this podcast by saying it was very funny because we knew that Ryan and Nick were going to be here in studio. And then when we were planning on what time to do this, Patrick was like, you know, we said what date it was and what time, and the way he said, I think I can make that work, made it sound like Patrick was actually going to, like, fly here. And so we just sat there planning Patrick's trip for him, and he came back, like, after working for 4 hours and was just like, well, now I'm pressured.
Missed 47 messages.
Yes, exactly. So I was kind of hopeful that Patrick was just going to randomly show up here, but
he's unfortunately he's lost use of his private jet. So
that's true.
Well, I do like also
he's zooming from the master bedroom.
I did look at flights, and it's hard to travel across the country.
Yes, it is.
9.1 inflation. Thanks, Obama.
I will say that Patrick is also joining us very early his time, and we're a drinking podcast. Mm-hmm. So Patrick's in the morning of his workday over on the West Coast. So that's amazing to me. So thank you for joining us. We are on episode 188. Of the New Way podcast. We are 12 episodes away from our 200th episode. And if you remember our 100th episode, it was like we had all died. And I cut together things that I thought would be fun, but I think it made a lot of us kind of uncomfortable after we played the Green Day
Time of Our Lives. In memoriam.
In memoriam of the New Way. But no, we're still alive, coming another almost 100 episodes later. And speaking of alive... Look at that segue. That was beautiful.
Are we talking about the professional, the cannibal soccer team?
Yes, exactly. We're talking about both that.
We should do a podcast
and
about
Alive.
that.
That's a great movie. So Ben, why have we been off the air for 3 months?
I had cancer treatment and I couldn't talk.
downer. Jesus
Jeez,
Christ.
man, just get right in there. You don't even like spit and lube it up. Get it ready to go.
No,
God
well,
almighty.
it had been mentioned because we told Dr. Rick.
It was awkwardly mentioned once before.
My dick still doesn't work.
Whoa!
But I was hoping that the magical chemo and radiation would suddenly like just make me have super dick. But no,
I think
Just a stick of kryptonite.
I'm fairly certain that both everyone in this room and possibly many people listening will know exactly who I'm talking about, but I will not mention this person's name lest we have an issue. But I told that same joke that Ben just told here to someone that we know, and they're like, I got pills. Does he need pills? I got lots of dick pills. And
we
so
all
I was
know who it
hoping
is.
his cancer treatment would be his origin story for his super dick.
I got lots of
Super
dick
dick.
pills.
I've also
That
noticed.
sounds like
though-
a beer from a craft brewery. Got lots of dick pills.
Anyways, the radiation definitely
A
changed.
light, refreshing, crisp lager. Yeah.
let the man talk. He just
goes
beat
hard.
cancer, Ryan.
Great
For God's
He
sake.
beat cancer, for God's sake.
I was gonna say the radiation makes me talk a little bit differently, and I noticed when I listened to myself recorded that I just sound very unenthusiastic about everything. So it's not like my
change.
my
Big
lu-
change.
Nothing's
my
changed.
my luster for life has not changed. It's just my voice.
It's easy. It's easy to joke about it, but God damn it, Ben, that was
It
a
is.
tough
Yes.
treatment,
It
and
fucking sucked.
you fucking killed it, man.
Yeah, it sucked.
Yeah, congrats, buddy.
It feels
job.
really awesome. It feels really awesome not only to be back, but like to be in the same room and record for the first time after you've gone through. It's special, man.
Oh, yeah.
And
We're
it
proud
I
of you.
appreciate it.
It feels good to be able to joke with you about it without like texting
Worrying.
somebody else
Yeah,
and
I'm
being
not-
like, "Oh, did I go too far with that joke?"
No, you never would have gone
The
too
day is
far.
long.
Well, no, I just
The day is long.
want to personally thank Ben for stealing my weight loss thunder. So thanks a lot, Ben. Fucking 3 months and you outshine me once again. Effortless Wilson
Ben
over
took-
there
Ben-
with the Ben diet.
Ben took the easy route.
Yeah, no kidding, man. If I could have done that in 60 days, I'd be swimming in it.
60 days. Are you fucking kidding me?
It's true.
It was a lot longer than
So
that.
speaking of swimming in it, I have a bit that really means absolutely nothing now. But this is a bit, by the way, Nick, you came up with. I have placed
I
four.
apologize in advance.
I have placed 4 cups of indeterminate liquid in
Wait,
front
what?
of
I came up
each.
with this?
You did in March. I've been
They
planning
look
this
like
since
Jello
March.
shots from the corner.
It kind of does.
We're gonna do this as a blind taste test. I'm not gonna even tell you exactly what it is.
Oh, I know.
But I want you to. We're gonna pick out what everyone's favorite is, and then I'm gonna reveal to you what you drank. So everyone start with one.
Well,
You don't have to drink the whole
yellow.
thing.
The yellow. Cube.
Yeah, yellow will be one.
The one that looks like piss.
Yes.
Yeah, this looks like it would be in a Gatorade bottle on a long road trip.
Ugh. God, that tastes exactly like what I thought it was gonna taste like.
I think I know exactly what this is.
Listen,
Is this 0-calorie Mountain Dew?
Don't. Why are you We're gonna wait till after.
Oh,
We're gonna.
Well, it's still fresh in my mind. I just imbibed. I don't want to forget.
Right. Well, just so you're gonna rate. You're gonna rate which of these flavors you like best. So that's one. Everyone try 2. Look at these mouth sounds.
ASMR.
This is my nightmare.
Oh,
can't
no,
read.
that's not any better.
Okay. For people at home, this is a ruby red
Yes.
hue. Looks like a grapefruit, perhaps.
As I said before the podcast, this also looks like piss, but after I had cisplatin.
Cancer joke.
This
Cancer
is
jokes.
none of these
No,
colors
all
are
part of
found
roofie
in nature.
roulette.
Oh, Pat, I don't think you would like this.
Yeah, these are okay. We're gonna try number 3 now.
Listen, I've seen Pat put some real weird shit in his
What
mouth.
is that?
Oh man,
Passion fruit or
these are getting worse as we go. All right, 3 is down the drain.
one of you has a roofie,
this one is like
or
I hope it's.
one of you does not.
this is like a desaturated grapefruit. It's
Oh,
a
I
little
hate
less in
this
hue.
one very much.
The
This
hue
one
is
is
less
this one is-
colorful and less flavorful.
this one is 3 of 3 at this point.
Yeah, they're getting worse and worse.
I don't like that. That's one of the worst things I've
that's
ever
cough
put in
syrup.
my mouth.
Yeah, I don't.
None of you have faces.
What
that
did you
show
do? What did
And
you
number-
do, Matt?
And number 4.
Oh,
Is
this is
Ben's
Baja Blast.
leftover cancer
That's
drugs?
exactly what I said. It's Baja Blast.
Listen, I have never in my life drank this without a chalupa at 3 a.m. in the morning.
Ben's like, I just went through chemo and this is worse.
You know, we did. Ben and I talked about this. I don't know if you remember this, Ben, but we were considering doing a bit where Ben would rate pop culture things on whether it was better or worse than his cancer treatment at the time.
treatment at the time, yeah.
I see the answers.
He did, yeah, he did. Well, everyone else can see the answers as well. So yes, Nick came up with this idea because he sent me a TikTok where a guy that's like a beer, some beer snob
Stop
tasted
grunting.
the hard Mountain Dew.
I was right.
Yep.
Zero sugar.
I tasted.
seltzers.
Those were alcoholic?
Yes,
I tasted
5%.
the first one and knew exactly.
my
It tasted
God,
like
that's right.
it tasted like Diet Mountain Dew.
Now,
I know
I-
exactly what it
Word
was.
of check.
I can't taste the booze, but I can taste the lack
the
of
pain,
calories. Yeah.
the hate.
The 1999 of it. Yeah, these are.
Nick just transformed
awful.
into Jinkos.
I hate Mountain Dew in general, but this is somehow worse than any Mountain Dew I've ever had. I don't think there's
Sweet
any one
wallet
of them
chain, bro.
I would ever try again.
And I mean, the taste suddenly just made me want to watch Cruel Intentions and eat Papa John's.
I want to jerk off to a magazine.
Right.
So
Bunch of
again,
cheese
nothing has
puffs are gonna
changed.
fall from the ceiling.
Ryan's
has
got
changed.
Ryan Philippe's haircut all of a sudden. And he doesn't know how. It's so those.
Now Kith.
Did you guys enjoy any one of those?
The first one.
The first one was fine. It tasted
Okay,
like
so
Diet
that
Mountain
was
Dew.
Yeah, the
that was
first
the
one
regular Mountain
Tasted
Dew.
like
so,
Diet Mountain Dew.
So I went 1, 4,
Well,
2, 3.
That's me too. Exact same
3
order.
was
Four
terrible.
Three
was palatable enough. Like
I go 1, 4, 3, 2. I put Baja Blast slightly above, and you're right.
Yeah, so we have the number one was just regular Mountain Dew. Number 2 was watermelon. Number 3 was black cherry. Number 4 is Baja Blast. Now I cannot
Black cherry
cannot
is super medicinal.
I cannot
Yeah.
oversell the can art on these is amazing because they each have a spirit animal for the flavors and they're done
90s
in
tribal
just,
tattoos.
So-
just white color and then whatever the color of the can, which is also the color of the liquid that came out of the can, is the only highlight on there. So
What
we have
is
an-
your Mountain Dew's
So
Patronus?
spirit animal is problematic now. You
I've
do
heard.
have to
I
use
did. I did hear
Patronus
that. I
or
actually
animal guide.
We can use Patronus, but we cannot say spirit animal anymore. I did forget about that.
because,
But so-
because it's sponsored by Patron.
That's right.
Slight.
so
oh
the
my
mount,
god,
the regular
tequila-based Mountain Dew would be.
The regular Mountain Dew is an eagle coming at you, talons
Yep.
forward, and it has 4 of them. I don't even know if that's correct. The watermelon
sunny.
inexplicably is a snake. The cherry, which tastes like cough syrup, is a bear. And the Baja Blast is a shark. The only one that makes sense is the Baja Blast.
Blast
but I
kinda
don't
makes
understand why you would like a snake and
I like
watermelon.
the eagle for the OG. You know, just a classic America. But I, for the watermelon, I think I might have like a muskrat or a rodent.
They looked at the most likely tattoo for the people that would drink this beverage, and they're like,
That
"Those are going to be our."
This
That's
is
our can art.
dead on correct.
This
Yeah.
is the taste equivalent of a tribal tattoo.
It's the taste equivalent of Florida.
You're really coming hard on
Yeah.
Florida.
coming in
You're a
slick.
guest here.
The Trojan horse.
That's the better one.
Like
That
I
is
said,
way better.
I've got to feel better about being from Texas right now. They told me that the air
Good luck.
conditioner. They said shut off your air conditioner. I said, "Fuck this! I'm going to Florida."
Yeah, we're not great here, but they do let us keep our electronics running in the summer for things. Now,
Yeah, man. Nobody could have seen Texas being hot in the summer.
imagine
what
that.
a shock. So we are one of
It's
the
like it would
reasons.
almost be better if you added Costello to the equation. You know, maybe it would run. If it was Abbott and Costello,
Abbott and
maybe a
Costello.
state would be, a functional society. In
There
some
it
way.
is. So one of the reasons we are all in town was not just for the podcast, but we are celebrating Ben's big fuck off to cancer weekend out here. So today I took Ryan and Nick out. We went to breakfast, and then on our way to pick up some beer at Civil Society, I took us for a drive by of Mar-a-Lago. What was your opinion on Mar-a-Lago, gentlemen?
This could be Ryan's pilgrimage
Hello,
from
It
Texas
stinks.
to Mar-a-Lago.
hello
it
darkness, my
stinks.
old friend.
It was unsurprisingly underwhelming. Which
That's-
seemed very on brand.
That's pretty accurate, for sure. Yeah, it's a place. It's a
I'm
place in
amazed they
Florida.
had signage that said no guns or weapons. So
Many signs. Like every time there was a space for a sign, it was no guns. They seem kind of scared about guns for some reason.
Who in Florida? Why?
Yeah, crazy.
Who could understand? But yeah, we are here for a big beer weekend. We
Shaped
decided
like a
because we're all together. We decided let's do a podcast. We have been
And
off,
go to Mar-a-Lago.
and go to Mar-a-Lago, and we've been off the air.
And that's
for,
all we're doing all weekend.
the party's actually at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah,
Thank God.
that would be so.
It only
amazing.
cost us $157,000.
Exactly.
Thanks, Ben.
So we're hanging out here. We're doing the podcast.
Walt would
because-
actually come then.
Yes.
Does your insurance cover that?
So we've been off the air for 3 months, which means we have missed out on a lot of pop culture that we were supposed to watch so you don't have to. So we thought today we're going to just get together and we each picked a few properties to talk about that we've been watching over the last few months that we're excited about and we want to talk to you about and talk to each other about today. So I'm gonna kick us off here. I am wearing a Lumen shirt, which is based off of the show Severance, which
is based off of the show Lost,
it's a little Lostian. I still think the thing that is most fascinating to me about this show is this is what Ben and I dreamed of being able to do with Dream Writers, that the person that wrote it had written some plays in college, wrote a spec script, and literally just sent it to Ben Stiller, amongst other people, to Ben Stiller's production company. And one of Stiller's readers really liked it and ran it up the flagpole. Don't you dare sing any song that uses flagpole in it right now. I saw a
I wasn't until you said that.
But
I'm not sick, but I'm not well.
You're paranoid.
Oh, God. Anywho, so this guy sent
Patrick with the clutch,
and Stiller loved it, and they turned it into a series. It's going to get a second season at some point. It's going to take them a while to be able to get back to that, but it is. I have to say, we are kind of in this Lost renaissance really now for the first time, because there were all of these shows right after Lost came out tried to do Lost. Like we had Revolution, we had the flight plan one, we had the and Patrick is playing the drinking game over there. We're breaking all of our rules, but I think they've been trying it for so long, and then they kind of flamed out with all of that and they got rid of it, and then we got lucky with Damon Lindelof coming back and doing The Leftovers and Watchmen, and I think that paved the way for things like Yellow Jackets, which came out earlier this year, which was very Lost.
Alive, the cannibal soccer movie also paved the way.
But yeah, if you have not watched Severance, I think it is one of the most thought-provoking, interesting concepts, and the execution is phenomenal. And the casting, the entire ensemble got nominated for Emmys, including John Turturro and Christopher Walken, who, slight spoiler alert, you would see this in the preview anyway, have a romantic relationship, which no one realized this was what we needed to believe and love again. Was watching John Turturro.
It was such a sweet, it was very, very warm and fuzzy and weirdly authentic. What was that, Pat?
You could see the butterflies.
Yes,
yes.
It was really authentic, and they were flexing muscles that I'm like, those guys are legends, and they were still
both of those guys would be very sweet lovers.
Yeah, I mean, very tender.
Like in and of themselves, but together.
They literally pull off the trope of two hands next to each other, lightly touching pinkies, and somehow make it not a trope that you're laughing at. You're just like, fuck this. You're so excited for these two people to find each other in this very weird world that you're in. It's one of the most surprising things I think I saw on TV this year, but I fucking loved it. I will get it to you if you don't have Apple Plus or something, but go for it.
That show hits really well when you feel like an employee who's a cattle at a big company. Like it hits perfect.
And perfect meaning in a horrible, gut wrenching.
A PTSD
in a moment of horrible reflection.
And what company would you be talking about, Patrick?
It's got an interesting bust to it.
Gross. What were you about to say, Ben? You had something.
No, because I haven't seen Severance yet, and I'm excited about it. But it was so funny because 2 days ago, Beth was just like, "Have you heard about Severance?" I was just like, "I've mentioned it 15 times. We should watch it."
But
don't put Beth on Baja Blast.
Your wife that you live with mentioned it.
Well,
after.
And
not
I love
realizing you had seen
it. There's an actress in it named Britt Lauer, I believe is her name, who I know from something we've talked about in the show several times. But I watch 2 of these episodes every year. She plays the sister in Man Seeking Woman, and she does the episode where she's dating Santa Claus, which is like a must watch every Christmas for me because it's so fucking good.
So funny.
Yeah, her just like Santa Claus is coming to town is one of the best line deliveries ever. But yeah, don't sleep on that one. Go out, watch it now.
Do you still have those Lumen snacks from the pop-up?
I do. Well, the snacks are gone because they were attracting bugs of types.
Oh.
So, but I did keep the boxes and I gave the extra ones to my
Matt and I went to a little pop pop-up at the Grove, one of my least favorite places in LA, but they had a really cool pop-up of all the Apple Plus series,
great.
and you went from station to station and get a free food item. And
what did they have?
Ted Lasso had delicious ice cream, right?
It was the
Not
Snickerdoodle.
biscuits?
No, the tea
Yeah.
and
have
Snickerdoodle. It was tea and Snickerdoodle ice cream,
Yeah.
and then Schmigadoon had their corn pudding or their cornbread
good.
casserole. After Party had popcorn that you had to take a personality quiz to choose what popcorn you got, and Nick and I got the worst popcorns that they had offered.
We're
so
walking
awful
around,
people.
and people have like these like multicolored rainbow popcorn and chocolate popcorn. And look at ours, like salted. My personality got me.
Mine was unassaulted, and it was equally as
Unsalted,
boring.
plain popcorn.
But yeah, and we had Lasso. Nick and I took pictures on the set of the morning show, and we played news anchors and posed for like 40 pictures that the girl took.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. When you said you really wanted to do this, I was like, oh, fuck, God damn it. And it's like, oh, we'll do it. We're close by, and it was really worthwhile. It was very cool.
We got a free coffee
How did
from
Matt
that coffee
react to
place.
seeing Mario Lopez?
Well, listen, Pat is right. If we had gone at almost any other time in the calendar year, we would have run into Mario Lopez doing that's where he shoots his like. Did you hear Doja Cat's in a feud with Noah Schnapp?
I would have been so happy to have seen him
Yeah,
and
you
talk
would.
about the new season of Saved by the Bell.
Call me Preppy. Call me Preppy. Can you get my voicemail?
I love you just somehow combined election and Saved by the Bell almost in the Call Me Preppy.
Efficient. Preppy.
Efficient. Ben, what's something you've watched in the last few months you want to talk about?
Well, I guess
porn.
I'll bring up Yellowstone first because
Yeah, I wanna hear
so
about this.
for years now, multiple people have told me like, oh, Yellowstone's a great show. Yellowstone's a great show, and I know that especially Matt and I are big Costner fans, and so it is kind of weird that I've never been. It was on a weird network. Like I know it's only streaming on like it's Paramount Plus or whatever it is, and so whatever it was on. Whatever station I think it originally aired on, I don't think that we got
Roku.
So, I wasn't.
Do I have
It was not something that I was like ever going to seek out. And then apparently, somebody that Beth knows was just kept on talking about it to the point where Beth was like, "Well, I'm kind of interested in seeing it." Actually, the owner of my company it's his favorite show. It's Mark's favorite show, and so he has told me multiple times, "Oh, you got to watch it." And so we started watching it, and we watched a lot of it. We're through 2 seasons now, and so I will say, it's a really well constructed show. If you like a show like Succession, it's very similar to Succession.
That was the thing that surprised me the most when you said that, because I'm like, yeah, I'll watch anything that's like
it's like kind of a Western Succession. It's very the first season has some very, very sharp dialogue.
Is it Montana? Where does it take place?
It takes place right outside of
Hannah, Montana.
Yeah, it's Montana, Wyoming area, but it's right by the park.
Right.
But I would say it's interesting though, because the first 4 or 5 episodes, the writing is really, really super sharp, and then it just takes a straight nosedive into like being Dallas.
Oh.
But you're so invested in the characters at this point that it's turned into this complete soap opera where just ridiculous, like the stupidest stuff happens.
And plus,
now we're in it.
Plus, Yogi and Boo Boo keep stealing all the picnic
Yeah,
baskets.
of course. Yeah, that's the worst part.
Oh, that's Jellystone. Jellystone. Sorry.
I had that
Jellystone.
lined up.
I
was waiting for the
All
moment.
right. I want a gritty Yellowstone with talking bears in it. Is what I want.
But yeah. Anyways, I've gotten to the point now where I'm like, I guess I have to finish watching it. It's a little bit more beleaguered. It was interesting though, because for the first 5 episodes, I was just like, this show's fucking awesome. And but yeah, it was a very quickly law of diminishing returns.
I like
that first season's really good.
I like that we've come full circle here, because you started talking about it being like Succession. I was like, okay, maybe I'll check it out. I wasn't really interested, and now you're like, it turns into Dexter in season 2 real quick.
No,
and
I
I'm
mean,
like, oh, cool.
like,
so I don't have to. I can mark that off the list. I don't need to watch it.
No, like, and the thing is everyone says season 2 is the best, and we're in season 2, and I'm still enjoying watching it, but it's not like all of a sudden it was like they switched their writing staff. It's
So
like
is it-
it's so much more
They
antiquated.
very well
now.
could have.
Is it like The Wire season 2, where you don't realize that it's good until the very end?
I knew it from day one, baby.
I don't know,
Man.
I don't have that type of
I
distance
lived
from it
it,
yet.
Ryan.
Yeah.
Like The Wire season 2 in
It's-
real time was terrible, but then you get the
Nope.
full picture and you're like, oh man, actually is amazing on the rewatch.
I actually think that, you know what, I think that Lost season 2 is completely underrated because
So-
a lot of people give that season
Okay,
shit.
so-
I still
like
I
that.
still
I
operate-
like
I really like Lost season 2.
I still operate under the instructions that Patrick gave me, where he said, if you haven't started
That's
watching
me.
Lost, don't. If you've started it, finish it. So I've just never started it because Patrick was like, if you haven't started, then don't.
I think there's parts of season 2 in the beginning that are great. I think the Nikki and Paolo episodes are unwatchably awful, but that's a thing.
It's pretty amazing that in the same sentence, Ben lifted Lost up and pushed Kevin Costner down.
You raised me
Well, you know what? I just have a new outlook on life, Nick.
It's because of cancer.
I do like now. I've tried a couple of times for comedic.
Well, I beat COVID. Okay,
I've tried a couple of times.
slight cold symptoms.
I've tried a couple of times for comedic effect to mute Nick's mic, but he's right next to Ryan, so there is no way to mute Nick's
Have
mic.
you really?
I tried. You didn't notice.
Now you have to ask if he
That's
does
kinda
that
fucked
when
up.
you're on
You were
all the
yelling
time.
at one point, and it was sort of funny, but then
Nick,
it
we're
didn't
gonna-
mean anything.
We're
'cause it
gonna
didn't
mess
happen.
around and get
Matt,
this
do you
whole
do
side
that
of
when
the
he's on
studio
Zoom?
muted.
Oh,
Sometimes.
but nothing when everyone else talks over each other. But you're gonna mute my mic. I see how it is.
Oh, I've muted several of you in this
Everyone
podcast.
else didn't start singing Flagpole today.
I did. I muted Patrick and Ben twice in this.
I'm just gonna sing "Harvey Danger" harder. Is all I'm gonna do. And
You could have let me know to mute you. I got a cough button, guys. Just tell me. We can make this work. Nikki, let's hear your
what did you
property.
just call me?
Nikki, little Nicholas,
Sweet Nicky.
sweet Nikki,
Nicki Minaj.
Damn right.
sweetie Nikki.
So should we go everything everywhere all at once?
That sounds like a lot of places, but sure.
Let's do it.
Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Everything everywhere
all at once.
all at once.
Just occasionally.
What did I say?
Everything, everywhere.
So you just want everybody to start talking at the same
Oh,
time.
I get it. I get it.
yes.
Yeah, but you mute me. A mutiny.
A mute to me.
Anyway, what I think was really super cool that movie, outside of the fact that you're seeing representation that you never see, you're seeing a feature film made on a budget that is less than one episode of She-Hulk, and you're dealing with
Specific.
the multiverse. Well, I'm specific on that because they're dealing with the multiverse, the theme that Marvel has really popularized now, and I think I mentioned this to you, Ben, last night, but we're seeing two kind of themes emerge in TV and film lately, and one of them is like Severance, railing against work culture and injustice in our society, but then also this escapist multiverse. Like, you're seeing it pop up everywhere, and I think this is the first like mainstream, outside of a Marvel movie, outside of a superhero movie, and I think that really resonated with people because they didn't have to see a superhero movie to get a taste of this high concept multiverse.
Quick note though,
Yeah.
it is a superhero movie.
Well, sure, but
Well, actually,
outside of the confines of,
It's not a Marvel movie.
there is fatigue, like specific brand fatigue around Marvel and the typical superhero film, right? But this was different, and it's the thing for me. We could delve into we could do a whole episode about this film and why it was important and all the cool things they were able to accomplish, but one thing that I thought was really striking is my TikTok feed, right when that came out, right?
Nick's about to talk about his For You page.
I was on. Yeah, I am.
Is this on your clean TikTok or your
I don't-
mischievous TikTok?
I'm not a coward. I have one account.
You have one TikTok? Wow.
I don't have a secret TikTok account.
Bold strategy.
He doesn't have a dick talk.
Bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it works for him.
It's a hodgepodge, and it's thoughts and thoughts. It's deep and it's also
THOTS
Anyway.
for those of you listening
All
at
at
home.
once.
For all five of you listening at home.
I like to have everything everywhere all at once on my TikTok feed. But what was coming? All right, you know what? Now you're just doing it for the show. What I thought was cool is you're getting all of these like big guys like Straw Hat Goofy and Jay Stoobs and all these TikTokers all of a sudden who have made a career off of, here's what I thought of the latest Marvel movie. And all of a sudden, the demeanor changes. Even the big TikTokers. And like, this is a special movie. I felt it in my bones. I felt different. And it was life affirming, and I left the theater with this huge smile on my face, and then I kept getting them. You know, I was securely in the algorithm, and now it was not just big TikTokers. It was people who had 12 views showing up on my homepage, and it's people literally coming out of the theater in tears, and people that maybe weren't even like the original demographic or felt particularly seen. It dealt with the concept of life. We've gone through so much, and it really what it does almost even better than nailing the multiverse theme. I still think maybe Into the Spider-Verse, I rank it a little higher in terms of nailing the concept, but it meant so much to people, and it was such a positive force in film, and it was a social phenomenon in ways that we don't see very often, especially from a small indie film like that.
Sure.
Highest grossing A24 film.
Yeah, absolutely.
And our friend Allison Carter was a producer on it.
Allison, I've talked to Allison about this, and like I would send her these TikToks, and she's very moved as well. That team was apparently really close, and it's one of those movies that it comes through, and it's just got a lot of heart.
Cleans up award season. I really hope that
I'd be happy.
It's still going.
I would love for that
strong
to
there.
happen too.
I think that'd be great.
And seeing Michelle, really flex her muscles. You've seen the interviews where she's like, I finally felt like I was cast and could really show what I could do for the first time in my career. And you look at career and to hear that, those are big words, and she's not wrong.
Well, I will say one quick thing about it is that there are lots of writers, established writers, who strive to reach like a level of like emotional connection with the audience
and resonance, like way
resonance. And Daniels, the writers directors of the film, were able to do have a more connective human scene between two rocks.
Yeah.
In a 1.5 minute sequence in the middle of the movie than most writer directors could ever possibly hope to have.
And obviously we have a lot to move on to, so we can't even really get into it. So you might be lost if you haven't seen it.
Yes,
just go watch it.
Keep talking about Lost,
but also
Jesus Christ.
but to get back to Lost, it is similar in another way, right? Like I remember watching Swiss Army Man with Matt in his living room, and we're thinking like, this is batshit crazy. This guy's like farting as a motor in a boat, and Daniel writes Harry Potter, and I remember we were thinking like we liked it, but I also was thinking like, yeah, like let's see where they go from here. Like that was good, but like let's see what's next, because we had never seen anything like it. And like Damon Lindelof, like Swiss Army Man, is good. We really enjoyed it, but it's not high art, and it wasn't them firing on all cylinders, sort of like Lost, But then he goes on to Watchmen, he goes on to Leftovers, It feels like they really honed their filmmaking skills and was able to make something really emotionally resonant.
What they remind me of is they're kind of, to me, they're like the art house Lord and Miller. Like Lord and Miller totally. Really do like when they're able to lean into the things that are really what they like, how they want to do it, and they get the right people involved. I think they're very similar mindsets, and I'm like, these are now guys I will watch. I'll follow them into the breach. Like I will watch whatever they do. It's like it's fucking great. And I love also just you're two guys and you get into directing together, and your both names happen to be Daniel, and so you start crediting yourself as director as Daniels. Is the funniest fucking thing. Like that's trolling on a level that I will never reach in my entire life as hard as I try. It's so good.
They gotta cast Jeff in the next one.
Yes. Ryan, let's hear it.
Go, do it, go
now, go.
What you got?
Efficient.
Productive.
So this is actually a recent watch for me. I'm actually not sure how long it's been out. It's pretty new.
Behind the Green Door? What's old?
Yes.
Debbie Does Dallas 3?
Take it away, Nick. So there's a show that was recommended to me, and I watched it, or I turned on the first one and was like, all right, I'll give it a chance. And it was one of those shows you end up watching in like 3 days. And it's on Hulu, is what I watched it on. I think it's an FX show, but it's The Bear.
Mm-hmm.
Which,
so good.
If any of you have ever worked in the restaurant industry,
service industry, really,
the service industry, it's got that waiting feeling where you're like, oh, this brings back every single anxiety that I've ever had. And it's so well done. So it's basically Lip from Shameless is top tier chef, comes back after his brother dies and takes over his like local scrub sandwich shop in Chicago. And it basically is like him dealing with all of his demons while trying to resurrect this poorly run business that his brother kind of ran into the ground, and then dealing with his brother's death and their issues and all of those aspects. And I think what sells it, the acting is insanely good.
Yep.
And it's listed as a drama, and I believe it's also listed as a comedy. It's like a dark comedy drama. That's
dramedy, if you will.
It's possible.
Yeah.
It's possible. Like the cow. A dramedy cow. And it's got, the casting is insane. It's great. It's got even some special appearances that jump out, and you like do the Leonardo DiCaprio like point at the screen where, you know, Joel McHale plays kind of the Gordon Ramsay-esque asshole boss at the high tier restaurant that he's working at.
I like how Maddie Matheson just shows up.
Maddie Matheson is in it just enough to make you wish Maddie Matheson was in it more.
Yeah.
And you get like they kind of
me on the podcast, right? Right, Ryan?
Just like that. Exactly like that. Except
motherfucker.
Just like that, except Maddie Matheson makes you want him there more. And what? Make us want you here less.
That soundboard game. Oh,
but they went with like
killing it.
They went with like the HBO route, and I'm not gonna spoil anything, but they go the HBO route where the penultimate episode, the second to last episode of the season, is just like this bomb of anxiety as he like everything kind of comes crashing down on the guy and the business and everybody. And it's one of those shows that's so good it makes you uncomfortable in that episode because it's so real.
Can I be vulnerable for a minute?
Uh-oh.
What does penultimate mean? I always
second to last.
Second to last.
It always means second to last,
and
right?
anti-penultimate means the second to last.
I didn't know that.
It's for real.
Are you
That's a
serious?
real thing. Anti-penultimate.
I always want to say penultimate when I just mean like ultimate. Like, you know, it's like something that
David Cross had a bit about that.
It's it's literally every
Second to
big HBO show you've ever seen. The penultimate episode is like the big fireworks, and then the final episode is their cleanup. And they kind of went that same route with The Bear, where it's like we're going to give you all the fireworks and all of the anxiety and all of the emotions in the second to last episode, and the last episode is going to kind of clean everything up for you.
But in Game of Thrones, they just did it in season 6 and just stopped. After that,
Game of I don't know.
The way I describe The Bear is it's like if the Safdie brothers got stuck in the kitchen. Because it's like
Uncut Gems.
Who was the muse?
Uncut Gems. Right.
Who was the muse for The Bear?
Oh god, that made me lightheaded.
Honestly, he's on top of his game. He's back, baby.
I'm trying.
Matt's back, baby.
Oh, that soundboard is banging.
Uncut Gems.
Uncut Gems. Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, it's because it's so. And the thing is, but the irony of that is that, for example, with Uncut Gems, I actually kind of got annoyed watching that movie just because it was so rapid fire. The Bear is not annoying. The Bear is really, really, really good.
Okay, I've heard that a lot from people about.
And
Uncut Gems.
I think it just got picked up like real quickly for a second season.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It got a really good ad campaign.
There was a tsunami of word of mouth all around the same time. What did I say?
Sorry, there's on this Stern show. George Takei says tsunami, and he corrects tsunami.
Oh my,
tsunami.
All I'm saying is there was a lot of
right.
All right,
but yeah, so
I don't like it anymore.
If you only know Jeremy Allen, is it Jeremy Allen White or Wright?
White is right.
No,
put that on the bumper sticker for America.
Jeremy Allen White is Lip from Shameless. If you'll ever watch that, he is insanely good in this show.
Really good.
He also is in a very polarizing movie amongst the New Wave participants, movie 43, where he plays the kid that's being homeschooled by his parents, but they want him to have the real high school experience, and it's Liev Schreiber and Naomi Watts as the parents. And it's like Liev is like comes on to him as like he's like, I've been having really weird feelings about guys, dude. It's really uncomfortably great, but I recommend watching that. Patrick,
hey.
What do you have for us to talk about?
I will go into what I know, which is Star Wars. Wars.
Yeah, something we don't talk about a lot on this show.
Nope. Get ready to drink.
There's so much going on now.
Yeah. So I want to talk about Boba Fett because the new way was
Boba
going
Fett.
to talk about Boba Fett.
Boba Fett.
Many
Spoiler
times
alert.
over. And it never happened. As a listener, I was disappointed.
Oh shit.
So I'm just going to take the baton and run.
Thanks, Ben.
Way to go. Y'all pissed off one of the 7 listeners.
Yeah.
Listener, contributor, and still at our throats. We deserve it. We deserve it. Take us to task. Do it.
Patrick sent that 3-star review with a quickness.
Like my mom that rated us 4 fucking stars out of 5 and took us from our perfect rating.
Still
Thanks,
hurts.
Mom.
Still hurts.
My review on Apple will not go through.
Did you swear in it or talk about Elon? I mean, no.
Bruno?
Bruno?
We don't talk about Bruno.
But
Okay,
Boba Fett. Boba Fett.
Boba Fett. I felt like it was a kind of polarizing. In general, I don't think people liked it.
I
I'm
liked
going to
it.
be in that camp.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Timmy likes it.
Like a
I liked-
6.5, 7 out of 10, you know?
I liked the episodes that were The Mandalorian.
Right.
Well,
where
if you got to them, I thought
Yeah.
those were pretty good. But like the majority of my friends didn't make it past episode 3.
Huh.
And so I feel like the rest of America probably didn't make it past episode 3. Because I'm the Star Wars geek in my crew.
Well, I think it's also just I think it's a bias we need to talk about in our country is we don't like watching old men take baths every episode of television, which was a large part of what that show was.
It's called a backed up. It's different.
It's an old man taking a memberberry bath. That was pretty much the first 4 episodes of that show.
But you know what? Though? I had a problem with Obi. Like I didn't finish Obi-Wan, but I stayed firm and I watched all of Boba Fett.
So I've heard your thoughts.
You stayed firm through the entirety
Get that
of
drop.
Boba Fett.
Nick doesn't need those dick pills.
Patrick, let Patrick talk for God's sake.
So Nick, I've heard I think your argument is like watching a redemption arc of Boba Fett was interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't want that. It's not the story
I don't
wanted.
want that.
I don't want your life.
Because to me, Boba Fett is a different character, and I'm fine with the redemption arc, but it took Breaking Bad multiple seasons to do a good redemption arc. Whereas this just felt like it felt like Warp Speed, and I didn't believe it.
That's a good criticism, honestly. I get it's one of those things where I can disagree with someone and be on totally different opposite sides of the fence, but that makes a lot of sense, you know. And it's true.
I wonder if Disney can do a gray character, if that's in their DNA to be even able to do it. I would love to watch. I would love to watch a show Sith based. I would love to watch a movie that's Sith based. I would love to watch something that is not a green good protagonist.
Cad Bane can't be that, right? He's a certified baddie, right?
He's a certified baddie.
They're not going to do anything.
Well, he's
and we've already seen him. I mean, spoiler, he dies.
Yeah,
so,
he's
but,
done.
But
is
if you haven't watched the
Kingpin dead,
cartoons, that's the first time you've ever seen him. So
Yeah.
he shows up once. Then
I
he's dead.
loved him.
He'll
I
be
had
back.
a friend that
He was-
hated him in the cartoon. Our loyal listener, Mark, is listening right now and getting very upset because he hates that character a lot. And I thought he was great. That was my favorite part
he
of it.
shows up in the world of Star Wars. He shows up and just messes with everything. He is a wrench in everybody's side.
Shit stirrer.
And so when he showed up, that was one of my favorite parts of the whole Boba Fett series.
Me too.
Even the way they showed the mayor or the sheriff, really good at drawing his gun.
Oliphant, yeah.
So there was a lot of things I did like about the show. Just in general, I didn't like it, but I'm going to go through the things I really like, which were the mayor. He was awesome. And when they were showing how good he was at drawing his gun, I was like, that's interesting. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool. And then I saw the shadowy figure in the distance and I was like, I lost my shit.
Yeah.
I think I sent you a text message thread Nick, of like me just
Yeah.
losing it.
Shitting
so
everywhere around his house.
the Pikes, really happy the Pikes were in the show. They're definitely
Not my
like,
favorite
they're dark-
fraternity, but in the Star Wars universe.
They're dark, sinister,
Pikes
manipulating. They were great. But I will, I didn't like the redemption side of things, and the characters I didn't feel were believable. And this goes to hi, Doug.
Hey, Bob.
Hi, Doug.
Is that Boomer?
That's Boomer.
Hi, Boomer.
Okay.
I love that like Patrick has like a
Boomer's
frosted, blurred background, so we can't see what beast is actually there behind him right
Don't
now.
talk about his girlfriend like that, fiance like that.
It's a Rancor.
The last thing I'll say on this is something I feel about Star Wars in general is that when Star Wars is good, it has believable characters and it feels grounded in something that I can actually see and touch.
Specifically
and
touch,
then-
though.
And then there's the cartoon side of things, which to me is like kind of you can suspend disbelief in like Jedi can jump 3 stories high, things like that. And to me, that works if you consider it like a retelling of lore. This is the lore of these stories, like, and this is a characterization of it. But when you try and bring some of those things into the live action side of things, that's when like Star Wars falls apart. It doesn't feel right. It feels cheesy. And I feel like the last episode of Boba Fett was a cartoon.
Yeah.
I felt like those Power Rangers were cartoon characters, and they just didn't fit in that. So like leave that storytelling in the lore cartoon side of things,
Yeah.
because I can do it, but when you bring it to live action, I lose it.
I think like in Boba Fett was one of those strange things that
It was a roller coaster for me. Like I loved I hated the first couple episodes. It was so slow and boring. Like, am I going to stick with this? And then it picked up. We got some of the Mando storylines. It wrote me back in. And I was thinking, oh, I was wrong. I acted too fast. And then Patrick, the ending was just like super underwhelming and cartoony and kind of dumb. But overall, I feel like maybe a second season will get it down right, but the middle of the season is where it peaks for sure.
Well, and I think to Patrick's thing that I think my biggest issue I have with it is we watched an entire season of television for Boba Fett to literally work to be a kingpin, a mafia kingpin, to get to the end of the season and be like, I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
And I was like, what was the point of our arc? Like, I would rather he either, like, if we're going to spend a season with a character chasing a goal, only for them to literally peter out at the last minute of the goal and be like, guess I'm going to try something else. It's like, what journey did we go on with this Mystique character that we're going to follow him? Let's follow him into, like, I think you're right, Patrick, that we had followed Boba Fett as an actual villain and followed him into it, like leaning into that mafia role. And especially if it was like where they pulled the rug out, where like we're kind of on board that he's going to be the right kind of, mafia enforcer and stuff. And then he just turns and be like, no,
Worse
I
than
was
Jabba.
fucking with all of you. And I'm like, now I'm going to fucking run this
Way
this
worse
city
than
with,
Jabba.
Like, that would be amazing. Like that would be a holy shit. This is
And
amazing.
and it just gives you so much for the future.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if we get more Boba Fett, we'll see. But we'll keep moving here. I think we're probably going to only get to 2 properties each. So guys, start thinking about which one you're going to, which Sophie's Choice you're going to take out here. I was going to talk about Better Call Saul or Miss Marvel. I'm going to go with Miss Marvel because I really think it's something special to talk about. Better Call Saul, just so you know, fucking watch it. It is, I've never seen a spinoff of an amazing top tier show actually outshine the top tier show somehow. It's amazing. But for Miss Marvel, I've been really, really blown away by this show throughout the entire season for a couple of reasons. One thing that's kind of interesting that I don't know if you've watched it at all, Nick, or not. Nick's leaving.
I have watched it. I'm not caught up though.
Okay. I'm not going to spoil
take your headphones off,
anything
Nick.
here. But I really feel like Miss Marvel to me feels kind of like if it's Spider-Man if Spider-Man bit a combination of MJ and Ned. And then Peter Parker was the best friend character.
That's a fantastic comparison.
Yeah.
And there was a great desire for me watching the show to be like, I want to see this character, Kamala, interact with Peter Parker or Spider-Man and stuff. But I will say the last 3 episodes of this show. One, I learned a ton of history that I probably should have known more about before watching a Disney Plus show, but learning about the partition and what happened with Pakistan and with the religion and everything that was going on there. There's an entire episode built around the history of this with her specific family that they just let breathe.
Yeah,
Like,
Matt, you and I were talking about that last night, where I watched the first 4 episodes on my flight over, and I felt the same way, where I was like, man, I had no idea about so much of this stuff. And they even say that in the show, like episode 2 or 3, one of the, I can't remember Kamala's best friend? Nakia. They're like leaving history class, and she basically says, like, we spend all this time learning about Europe and all these other places, and we spend 2 days on Persia. So it's that same, like, it's almost that meta concept of they're talking about in the show how we're all feeling watching it, saying, man, I really don't have any idea what happened over there in, like, in that World War II time frame, where you hear about everything else and then you miss this chunk of time in a giant continent that we all know about.
Yeah, and the thing that it reminded me the most of is watching, again, to bring up Lindelof's Watchmen, of learning about the history there with everything and the bombing in Oklahoma and stuff. It's just insane. And so there's a huge part of it of learning this history, and that's a great point you bring up, Ryan. I didn't even catch that, of them talking, like, literally doing that meta conversation about it. Yeah. And then the family, as they're like, they start talking about the partition. She's like, they kind of are joking about it a little bit at first, like, every family's got a partition story. Like, every one of us has got some story that we all tell around the dinner table. But I will say the finale of Miss Marvel. I promise I will not spoil it. I'm gonna just say it is so, like, ridiculously charming and happy, and I welled up with tears several times of just, like,
you know what? It's funny. The first episode, the pilot, I found myself welling up a lot, and also being, like, super conscious that, like, I'm not the,
same here.
Yeah, I'm not the one that they're making the show for, but seeing it out there was kind of beautiful.
I'll tell you this. This is it could be. You could call it virtue signaling or whatever, but I watched the first episode literally last night, like I said, on my flight. And I grew up with Indian and Pakistani friends, and those, basically, I watched it thinking, man, it's got to be really cool for these guys that are my age, that are now, late 30s, early 40s, watching it with their kids, and they're getting to watch this show about them with their kids. And it's that when you don't understand what the representation means in shows like that, and I have enough friends now that are at the age where they're watching these shows with their kids, and, like, I've got a good friend of mine from college. You should follow him on Twitter. He's a great Twitter follow, at Prop Joe Says.
Wow.
Great guy.
Prop Joe Says.
Wow.
He says, like, he basically tweeted all through it the fact that he gets to sit and watch it with his kids, and his kids get to watch a Marvel show that everybody and their mom is watching, and it's literally about them. They're going through all of the
a lot of validation.
Yeah, all of the holidays, all of the things that they're seeing as kids.
This is American.
And it's normalizing the shit out of it. And it's really fucking cool just to think of it from that perspective.
And as I'm watching, I'm like, wow, I haven't seen this in this culture in the mainstream, pop culture phenomenon like Marvel ever. And it made me think, like, I grew up my entire life with a million white dudes in every show, never really thought about it.
Well, and the thing for me, I think the thing that jumped out for me is, like, we've talked about it on this show before, where was it Endgame, where they did, like, the super forced all women get together and do the final push thing, where it's like that felt really forced. Nothing about this show feels forced. It feels really natural. It feels like you can watch it, and regardless of what you're watching it for, you can enjoy it, and it doesn't feel like they're just trying to force something in order to get the representation. It feels really authentic. It feels like it is a true show that anyone can watch.
Anyone can watch. Families can watch the show.
But that's really cool that I've got a bunch of friends that I've known since high school and college that can watch this show and show it to their kids, and it doesn't feel like it's just a token handed out by the Marvel community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ben, did you watch it with the girls?
Yeah, we haven't watched the last 2 episodes yet, but the girls love it.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that.
You know,
could totally see
And
them.
the kids don't know any different.
Yeah.
It's just a cool show.
Yeah, for them.
Amon Villani has a lot of Margot and Luna energy.
She's awesome, and she has some great thoughts about the end of the. I will not spoil some things from the finale, but she has some great thoughts about it. But there are so many little moments in that show. I think that you're speaking to a little bit, Ryan, that are done, and they fly by really quick. But there's they're dealing with the Department of Department of Destruction that was introduced in Spider-Man.
The DODJ.
The DODJ that like does the cleanup of all of the shit that like the Marvel Cinematic Universe has done, and it's the dude that's in No Way Home. And there's a part where they're trying to track down Miss Marvel, and they realize that she might be Muslim, and they're looking for someone that's Pakistani. And he's like, the other lady's like, we're gonna hit all the mosques, and he goes, just like don't overdo it. And he's like, we know he literally says we already have people watching them for other shit, and they call that back again in the finale of like, you came to a mosque, there's like 50 different people eyeballing us right now. Like there are these little moments that are much more adult than the show would have you believe. The show is ultimately for, I would say, kind of that teen audience, which I like as well. Again, it doesn't have to be dark shit that's just for us.
And
I like that it's for kids and families.
Stylistically, they pitched it like a live-action Spider-Verse with all
it's very Spider-Man.
When they're texting, there are these just
it's
murals.
in the background.
Murals come to life.
Shit.
A text appears on an alarm clock, and then on a television. They did some really inventive, fun, energetic things, even when it's these moments they're texting.
I also love that the guy from the DODJ. He's from Succession.
Yeah, he's
Arian. I looked it up. Arian Moayed.
Yeah,
he's outstanding in every. Like, I want him to be in something
bigger.
Something else.
Bigger.
Wait, was that Alan Ruck?
No.
Just a picture of Alan Ruck.
No.
The guy's in Session. He plays the one that's always dicking over.
Alan Ruck is
where's
above
the
him.
fucking cheese, guys?
Is Alan
What the
Ruck
fuck
in
was
Succession?
that?
That's that was.
Have you seen Succession?
No, I haven't.
Oh yes.
If I knew Alan Ruck was in it, I'll go. I'll go.
Alan Ruck's in one of the. He's one of the best characters.
Oh shit! I didn't know that.
He's great.
Nick, I've not seen it either.
By the way,
Let's do
Alan
it.
Ruck.
Let's do it, man.
Alan Ruck, 66 years old, folks.
I'm
just
ashamed.
To let you know.
Wait, I'm ashamed at how many of you have not seen Succession.
Where's the fucking cheese,
Nick,
guys?
I think so many things I
you
can
would
do.
love Succession.
Alan Ruck was like 32 years old when they made Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
This is true.
I just came back from Chicago. We did like a half Ferris tour. We did the
as is the
National Institute
as is
of Art.
custom.
As is want to do.
Yeah, Pat. Let's have a slumber party when I come back to LA. And we'll binge Succession.
All right, Nikki, what's your second?
Oh my god!
And final
when y'all learn
property?
about Greg
gonna
and Tom
skip over me
Wamsgans,
like that,
y'all
huh?
are gonna lose your mind.
You're just gonna skip me.
What are you
huh?
saying, you all?
What's
No,
happening?
we do it. I'm sorry, we get Ben. We
Oh,
get Ben
welcome
first.
to
Sorry.
Florida, Brian. You all?
Did you just call me Brian?
No.
Fucker, I've known you for 20 years.
All right,
Check your hearing.
it's Ben's turn.
Brian, Ben has the floor.
All right, Ben, take it home.
So there were 2 other things I was going to talk about. I'll talk about the first really fast. Obi-Wan. It was okay.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
It's aight.
It was okay.
Excellent.
I still have to...
It was great seeing Ewan McGregor again, and that was good.
Yeah,
hello there.
This is my feeling.
So that's all I had to say
Yeah,
about
pretty
that.
much. Pretty much. It's very astute.
Scooby bop, baba doo bop.
That's my that's my Forrest Gump of the day. That's all I have to say about that. No, the other thing I was going to talk about is our recent Taika Waititi's Thor: Love and Thunder.
I'm curious to
So,
see how
um,
this takes.
Still haven't seen it. I think I'm the only one here.
I have heard wildly divergent things from people who I trust. Many people.
It's my favorite coloring book.
Wow.
Wildly divergent things from people who I trust. That's a very interesting.
Where the wildly divergent things are.
But no, I wasn't really sure, and I think I may have tempered my expectations a bit because I had heard so many kind of weird opinions that were all over the place, and so I went into it maybe a little bit more on the maybe it's not that good.
You text us that you had a Thorgasm.
Well, yeah, that was a joke.
It's Thorbin time.
Oh, it was a joke.
Everyone knows that I orgasm every time Thor, gets all of his powers, and
You did or you did not have a Thorgasm.
So I thought
Did you come
I
in
would
the
say
theater?
I would say that my Thorgasm was an 8 out of 10.
Okay, all right.
Wow.
And I really, really enjoyed it. And here's the reason why. It makes very little sense. The movie has some real problems when it comes to plotting, and especially the fact that in the last act, and I'm not spoiling anything for anybody, they have a really, really great setup with that opens a lot of questions about like celestials and about a whole big thing, and they don't address it one fucking iota. They just are like, oh, we're just gonna just the fun stuff. Like just throw the fun stuff on screen.
Now that you said that, that's gonna bum me out. I'm gonna see
It's
it in the
there
movie.
in front of your face.
It is.
It's in front of your
literally
face.
the Chris Rock the girl opens her blouse and shows her titties and then closes and goes, "What are you looking at?" And it's like, wait, what? What's going on?
Yeah. So basically, like the whole end sequence is just like, wow, I have so many questions, and they don't answer, they don't address it, they don't do anything, and it's very strange that they don't do anything or any world building around the story at all. On the other hand, the fact that they don't do the excessive world building, which now Marvel has gotten a little excessive about, is also kind of refreshing. And I realized that as I was walking out of the theater, I was like, well, maybe that's just not what we needed. Because I was smiling ear to ear. I was like...
Maybe not from Taika.
And I was like... and there was a sequence involving many, let's just say, empowered children.
Yeah.
And that...
I fucking loved that. That is one of my favorite finale sequences.
It's one of my favorite Marvel sequences. Period.
Holy shit!
Like a hard stop.
It's said that Taika asked 6-year-olds, "What do you want to see in this movie?" and then just put it in there.
No, exactly.
Oh my god!
Oh, do you want to see a teddy bear shooting lasers out of its eyes?
Oh my god!
In the movie,
I almost pissed my pants in that scene. Like she's just turning 360s with a teddy bear fucking firing lasers.
So
losing it.
Anyways,
it's like the Key and Peele Gremlins 2 pitch session.
When it comes down to it, I think that I think that they purposefully streamlined the movie in a way of like getting away from some of the excessive Marvel world building, and I think that even though it may hurt, some of the bigger Marvel world building in the long run. And it may not have been super satisfying for the hardcore Marvel fans. I think as a movie, it probably ended up making it a little bit better. While I felt like the movie was pretty disposable altogether, it was very, very fun and very great for what it was. And I had a great time
I'll tell you, kind of a
very. By the way, that was a very Roger Ebert buttoned on the end of that interview review on there right there.
When Chris and I went and saw it earlier this week. And you watch the whole movie kind of in our group text somebody said it was Taika Waititi at his most Taika Waititi.
Right. That was Paul, I think so.
So like I'm not on a group text with Paul. So
I guess so.
Somebody shared it with me.
I guess I'm Paul.
Kristen and I go and watch it, and it's goofy through the whole movie. Like the screaming goats had me pissing my pants. Like, I couldn't contain myself every time the screaming goats were on the screen.
I was smiling, laughing, and giggling the entire movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you feel like you kind of have the feeling throughout it that it's too goofy. Like it's too much. It's a little too much all along the way. And then they get to the very end sequence and you kind of realize like, oh shit, that was intentional. Like it was goofy for 90% of the movie because that last 10% is too much if you don't have the levity with all of it. Like it's heavy. That last 10% is a heavy hit just from what goes down that you need 90% of just goofball Taika Waititi energy to alleviate the hit at the very end where you're like, oh oh shit.
I also will one side note, or just additional note on it is Christian Bale is largely like, I mean he's a great actor obviously and does a really good job.
Atheist
whatever.
Bale.
But there is one sequence where it's just him talking with the kids.
Fucking loved
that
it.
He is fucking terrifying.
Yes.
He is so scary. And I'm like, it's just because he's just in the presence of children and the way he just kind of emerges and the dialogue that he has with them.
Tonally, that is a tonally fascinating scene. And I think where Ben, you really encapsulated very well of like kind of what I came out of the movie is that there were the highs that hit like hard. And then the rest of it, there's a lot of it that like
it's disposable.
Not even disposable. I felt there were times that I felt the humor in Ragnarok was genuine.
I think Ragnarok's a better movie.
Yeah, absolutely. And the way that the humor is handled through different characters hits a lot funnier. Versus the humor in this, it's trying really hard at times, and you can feel the strain of it trying. And then you get to these moments like the kids at the end, which I thought was I was so happy with that scene at the end. And you get those moments with Bale. They cut back to Bale every so often in the story, and I'm like, I will follow this character. Like I would watch an entire movie that is just Christian Bale talking to school children as Gore the God Butcher.
So 2023 on Disney Plus.
I need to know why Christian Bale insists on massive weight gain or loss for all of his roles. Like the man does not pick a role where he's like, I look like Christian Bale. He's like, I either need to gain 75 pounds or lose 75 pounds in order to act.
I still remember the irony was that he did The Machinist. He said he was never doing that ever again.
And that's all he does.
Yeah.
Like everything is like Christian Bale loses 200 pounds
you
for
guys
this role.
You guys, the biggest criticism I've heard without having seen the film myself yet, right, is that they tried to blend in very serious, serious subject matter, and then would immediately erase it with a dumb joke.
Yeah.
You guys didn't have that problem with this at all. The balance.
I think there is especially the middle stretch of there are big stretches of the movie that are just a lot of gags, and tonally the movie is all over the place. Like there's a cut.
I struggle with that, so I wonder what I'm going to think.
There's a cut at one point from very silly Guardians of the Galaxy stuff to an Earth moment that is very heavy.
Yeah.
A trigger warning, including for someone in the room with us right now, that it goes really hard into it.
Did that resonate more for you, Ben?
I was wondering, Ben, about that. I don't know if we're spoiling this for anyone, but
it's kind of,
I would just let out. So there is a cancer plot line in this movie that is very forward facing, and the way it's
Did they tie that in with Peter Quill?
No, but they drop it in there like an Alka-Seltzer in a still glass of water. Like, it just hits, and you're like, what the fuck just happened? Like, we just took a hard left turn here.
Natalie Portman, once again, just...
Those guns. Oh, my gosh.
Man, I love Natalie Portman so much.
But,
she's the GOAT.
But I will say Jane, I didn't like Jane compared to her other portrayals in Marvel.
I don't like you.
Well, I love Natalie Portman.
Look
you
at
know,
you.
But like Darcy wasn't in this film very much, and I felt
really.
like he collapsed Darcy's humor into Jane's character.
Yeah, I agree.
And so she wasn't this
They do
like
that a lot, though.
astrophysicist.
They do that a lot.
I think,
don't know. She just seemed kind of clueless and more so than I think Jane deserves.
I think that there's I think the really big difference or interesting thing from this versus Ragnarok. One, Taika did not write Ragnarok, but he wrote this. He was part of crafting kind of how Ragnarok came out. But there is a split over more characters in Ragnarok, which allows a lot of these different pockets of humor to play out. So you've got Ruffalo, you've got the Hulk, you've got Thor, you've got Valkyrie, you've got Goldblum, like all this stuff. Versus this movie is streamlined into a much smaller number of characters.
Yeah.
You have Thor, you have Valkyrie, you have Korg, who is a little dare I say
There's a little too much Korg.
I love Taika. I really love it, but it is very Korg heavy.
Yeah.
He narrates the movie. He relies on that crutch a lot. And then that you get what's his name Russell Crowe showing up for an interesting Greek accent moment, which
that was Russell Crowe.
Yeah, I kind of didn't like. He didn't hit like Goldblum hit with the Grandmaster for me, and I think that's where this movie suffers the most. Is we're not juggling those voices so much.
I was watching that thinking, man, it looks like Russell Crowe let himself go.
That was COVID Russell Crowe going
nailed. I mean,
it was also Christian Bale.
Let it go, Russell
it was Christian
Crowe.
Bale as Russell Crowe. Wait, have we ever seen them together at the same time?
Nope. Zeus.
You're right.
Javert.
Oh God. All right. Well, by the way, we're gonna absolutely do an MCU episode coming up again. There's so much going on in there, so we'll get more back into this. But Nick, what do you have for your closer topic?
The anti-MCU.
Oh, there we go.
The
Let's do it.
boys.
Let's hear it for the boys.
Let's give the boys a hand. And
Have they made that joke in the show?
Let's
Because
give the boys a
not,
hand.
actually.
Listen, and now that the Maniac song from Flashdance is heavily prominent, evident, prominent and heavy. Get it? Anyway, it's a really good kind of takedown of the superhero tropes, while also like making an obvious point to make a scathing social commentary. And it's one of those shows where you've seen the memes of like the moment when the Proud Boys, who are fans of the show for 3 seasons, realize that Homelander is a Trump metaphor, and their eyes are wide as dinner plates. But there's plenty of criticism to go around. I think in a lot of ways, Vought is the Democratic Party that keeps the status quo and cleans things up and is all about appearance as opposed to making real change. They do a lot of really great social commentary while also kind of making fun of all the superhero tropes that Marvel has made, very, very popular. And it's been brutal at times to watch. They rely on the ultra violence, but one thing I think. You could talk about many different things about this show, but one thing that I think is really, really important and worthy of praise is they transformed a really lackluster, very gratuitous, fetishized comic into a really thoughtful show that does so much more than the source material ever did. And Warren Ellis is like a kind of he did the book that it's based on. He also did Cross, which is this just super cannibal Holocaust type, gratuitous, edgy for the sake of being edgy, and he's got kind of a reputation for pushing the envelope in the wrong ways. And the boys' graphic novels are certainly guilty of that. And I wouldn't recommend reading it, honestly. But the boys' television show doesn't lose the ultra violence that it's known for, but instead uses the fetishization of violence to its benefit at every turn. Homelander is one of the scariest, chilling antagonists that we've seen on TV in a long time, and the good guys never win. But the thing that's resonant for me as like a liberal, if you're looking at the current political landscape, there's this line where these normal humans the plot is they're fighting against these superhuman heroes that have too much power. And they kind of go off the rails, and it becomes like, what would happen in a world where Spider-Man goes rogue? What happened if the Avengers all of a sudden just got drunk on power, right? And it's a great concept.
Hancock.
Right? There have been some Hancock Homelander.
No, and he's just drunk.
There's a really...
And the thing that's really cool, though, is like the one line where the humans are like, I'm sick of losing. The superheroes, the superhumans stand for everything that they're against. And yet, if there's a drug that you can take to turn into one, all of a sudden they're like, I'm sick of losing. I'm going to now abandon my morals, abandon everything that I've stood for to now make this a fair fight. And this season was more about like, what are you willing to give up in your heart to defeat something that you're against? Like, are you any better than them?
And I think they did. And there's something that I can't really call this like a retcon, but there's always been something that's bugged me a little bit about the Homelander character, is that in my head I would rather see a Chris Evans that we can buy as both his character from Knives Out and his character as Captain America. Like I don't buy Anthony Starr. I think is the actor's name that plays Homelander. He is like, take one look at him, and every time he talks, I'm like, this guy is
he's evil. Yeah.
He's evil. And I think what they
Matt.
what they did great this season, because I always was trying to read him. No, but I mean, I was trying.
I can make the argument. Take one look at Trump, and everyone should know that he's evil too.
You're hitting exactly where I was about to. I was just about to get there.
Sorry.
Originally, the way he is presented in the first 2 seasons is Superman or Captain America to the public,
right?
And then behind closed doors, he's this asshole. And in the 3rd season, they just lean into the fact that no one's buying this guy as a good guy. So let's literally lean into the idea that Trump has never looked like a good guy. He's just looked like a guy that speaks his mind, and he just says who he is, and that people like that attitude from it. And that was the first time I really resonated with his performance. Versus the other season, I kept waiting. Like, I wanted to see the idea that I would have loved that season 1 Homelander seems like Captain America for 9 episodes, and then the 10th episode, all of a sudden you find out he's a fucking colossal douchebag. That's one way to play it. But what they've done over 3 seasons and how they paid this off in the 3rd season works perfect to what that guy does really well, which is that I'm a fucking wolf-looking human being, and fuck you if you don't like it. And most of you probably weren't believing it anyway. And the ones that now believe it, like fucking, let's bring it on.
Well, the line that's chilling the scene is like the most chilling for me is he's got, Homelander has this, it's a superhero that are run by a corporation essentially, and there's a scene where he is to make this public appearance and has to mind his P's and Q's and has these talking points, and he's reading off a teleprompter, and he just snaps. He goes, fuck this. I don't have to prove anything to you, peons. I'm a god among men.
Repeat
and here
the
I
line.
am. What is the line?
No.
Anyway,
keep going.
He's like, fuck you, fuck you, and the broadcast ends, and everyone's just in silence and looking around and uneasy. And he has a meeting, and he's expecting to get reamed out. He's expecting to think that now he's lost his support, and in fact, it's the support's grown in certain segments, right? And the look on Starr's eyes when he realizes he can act on his worst impulses and actually improve
his,
I mean, that
he can
that
shoot
is
a
kill
man
somebody.
on Fifth
He can shoot somebody on Fifth Street.
Yeah, there it is.
There it is.
And of course they end up,
literally doing
illustrating
that.
that
Literally do that moment.
Yeah, it's not exactly thinly veiled, right? But again, if you watch, it's not just railing on the right. There is a lot of really just such a good takedown of the left in many ways. It's very reflective. It's obviously got a liberal bent, but they don't let anybody off the hook, and it's been really. I've struggled with watching social commentary stuff because it's like, at what point is this funny or insightful or just making me depressed?
Right.
And The Boys is both delivers on escapism and fun while also being provoking and thought-provoking, and I think that's a cool and it's picking up steam. It's getting better every season. So
agreed.
Yeah. Wrap it up with a bow.
So we are really
classic Ben.
We are really long on time here. So
it's been 3 months.
I'm gonna give you guys another Sophie's choice. Only Ryan or Patrick gets to go next.
I think they both get to go at the same
They
time.
both get to go.
No, we'll go because I'll lead right into
Just
Patrick.
do an Altman
I'll
thing.
lead. I'll
Does
lead
everyone
right into
talk over each
Patrick.
other?
All right,
We're a package deal.
I'll lead right into Patrick, and Patrick knows exactly what this lead's going to be.
Okay, do it.
So the second one I was going to talk
Sorry,
about.
we're out of time.
Welcome,
Thank you so much
listeners.
for
Thank
listening.
you, everyone. Great show.
You go ahead. Sorry.
It was a bad bit.
No, suck that dead air, bitch.
Brutal.
So the second one I was going to talk about was The Staircase, and it's great. I'm just going to recommend that you watch it. It's better than the documentary. If you want to see Toni Collette fall down the stairs fucking 20 times and then
Boy, do I.
and then surprisingly get her ass eaten in the kitchen.
Wait, what?
Yeah, yes. I said what I said. Watch The Staircase. Yeah, Colin Firth goes to Browntown on Toni Collette. So enjoy The Staircase. It's great. But
But
What's scarier, that or Hereditary?
Oh, you can
Hereditary.
Sign me up.
Hereditary by
Tony
a
Collette is a
long
treasure.
shot. So that would have been the second one. The third one I want to touch on, just because we
Drink
are
her bath
in
water.
Florida and we are close to Miami, who just recently had the Miami GP. I, like many other Americans, have fallen into the trap of Formula One racing.
We're white guys.
Is that a thing? Like people are now they all love Formula One now?
So Nick, Drive to Survive on
What's going on?
Netflix has taken this
Dr. Rick just perked up.
This COVID window.
Hi, everybody.
And they have 4 seasons of Drive to Survive, which is a dramatized series following a season of Formula One racing. And it has absolutely...
Is it like hard knocks for Formula One?
Exactly what it is. It's exactly what it is. But it has basically drawn in this American fan base to Formula One racing, which is hilarious because I could not care any less about motor racing on any level until I started watching this show. And now I love it.
See, friend of the pod, Ben Monstre, when I was living with him, 3 years ago, he would wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning to watch Formula One. He was a hardcore fan, and now he's like gatekeeping like Kate Bush fans after Stranger Things. Like, I was waking up at 3 a.m. watching Formula One before you even knew there was a Netflix series.
Oh, there's a lot of that.
Fair enough.
But the thing is, like, the races are mostly in, Europe or some other countries. So to wake up and watch them here, it's 7 a.m., 8 a.m., all these things.
It's funny how the moment they're like racing through the actual towns.
Some of them, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, some of them are street courses
like that.
Monaco. Monaco
Yeah,
is the
Monaco.
one you're thinking of.
That's right.
And we will. I did say
But-
why Dr. Rick will perk up is we will have him call in and tell he went to the Miami F1 and had a phenomenally crazy experience.
So, to me, there's basically the big reason why it's so consumable is they do a great job with their announcing and their press coverage during the event, but it's also set up to be in this tight little package, unlike something like NASCAR. Like NASCAR, you have no idea. It might be 6 hours of watching this race.
I would have wrapped up in a tight little package.
With Formula One, their qualifying is 1 hour. The races are 2 hours. They
Down to
essentially
business.
they set their race by looking at how long basically what's the track length and how many laps can we do in 2 hours. And the race is 2 hours long. Saving a rain delay or something like that, you're watching for 2 hours. There's no commercials, there's no stops. It's racing for 2 hours, done and dusted. And it's
Blowing and going.
Blowing and going, baby.
And it's even more perfect during football season because you get up, you watch a race at 8 a.m. The race is over, you go straight into college game day, and it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
Pump
and
into my veins.
It's become
good for you.
It's become so popular. Patrick, get ready. You're on deck. It's become so popular that Netflix is doing a Drive to Survive-esque show for the PGA Tour and
The Tour de France.
And Bali.
Yeah. So Drive to Survive just riled up, Americans into F1. And right now the Tour de France is going on. I watch the tour every year.
It's the Tour de France.
Is that the one that Pee Wee bumped in?
I like that Ben just actually Patrick on the Tour de France.
Continue, Patrick.
It was a joke.
Continue, Patrick.
Yeah, I've been watching the tour for 2 decades now, and unlike F1, I think we're not going to get a ton of new American fans. The races are 6 hours long. I don't think that's digestible, but it is a gorgeous sport. It is happening right now.
What is happening right now? Is that a soundboard thing?
I don't know. Continue.
Oh God.
It,
Poor Patrick.
This is not the time.
This is what you get for not coming to Florida. You get antagonized every moment you have. This is a Christopher Nolan F1.
So what's so funny about this is
It's like Inception.
I just Patricked himself. He built me that sound effect for you, Nick. That if you got on the political thing to play in the background, and I turned it on him in a fit of genius. But I have got to say, the most pleasure I've had this entire podcast was watching everyone slowly be like, is everyone else hearing that weird sound in the background?
Yeah, but
Patrick, that is hilarious, dude.
It didn't fit.
Didn't
He blew his wad.
Didn't it?
Don't worry. I'll go on a Roe v. Wade rant next week, and he'll get to use it the way it was intended.
I'm so sorry, Patrick. I had to play it. I had my finger on the trigger,
Poor
but
Patrick.
Nick didn't go into it, so I couldn't play it.
I've been good today.
Just hold it. Just hold it.
No, I got to use it. I got to
know
use
when
it.
to fold 'em.
Use it or lose it, baby.
Willie Nelson wrote a song about this, Matt.
So quick button on the Tour de France.
Okay. Drive to Survive. That crew is filming. They're going to create a Netflix show. I'm very interested to see how that plays out. But if you don't want to invest any of that time, I would highly recommend the Tour de Pharmacy on HBO.
Really
you can
good.
follow the likes of Juju Pepe. It's got John Cena. It's got Will Forte. It is one of the most quotable just scenes when Will Forte he's at a drug bust and he finds a needle.
I love Will Forte. God damn it, I love him.
And man, that if Drive to Survive comes out as Tour de France and they don't do an immediate hot link over to Tour de Pharmacy,
they're missing the
out.
point.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that Will Forte in both that and 7 Days in Hell owns the single best moments in both of those movies.
Not surprised.
All the women were soaked to their socks.
Jesus. Yeah, I know. So good.
I love him so much.
Well, it is. So we have run out of time. We've run
in time,
very,
Mike.
very long.
Getting here for our cheers.
I do love that as we all approach 40 and pass it, there requires more bathroom breaks during the podcast.
I have had to go to the bathroom 5 times this morning.
Get that prostate check,
What
baby.
is going on?
Get that prostate
What
poked.
is going on?
I was going to go earlier, but I saw...
Check your body.
I was going to go earlier, but I saw Matt give me the heavy sigh, so I just put the headphones back on.
I was mainly
strapped back in.
Figuring out whether... Anyway, we want to thank you. It's so great to be back. It's so great to have Ben on the mend here and in remission. I think that deserves a actual applause from all of us in studio and in LA. And thank you. I want to thank you guys so much for listening. We're going to try to get episodes out a little bit faster. We're still going to be playing a little catch up here. We are going to also continue our 6 properties that explain the new way. Lots of really good stuff.
Is
coming up
Mar-a-Lago
for
one
you.
of those properties?
It is very potentially one of those. I will tell
I've made some progress on my
Scarface story.
6
for
properties.
Sure. 6 properties. Right now, 6 properties.
Sanford Stadium.
But we'll figure it out how we go. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you to all the guests here in studio and Patrick for calling in. It's great to see all of your beautiful faces and talk with you once again. And
our sponsor, Alcoholic Mountain Dew, for their
first of all, it's called Hard Mountain Dew.
Yeah,
Hard
Dew.
forget.
No.
Which is also the name of a porno from the 70s.
The slogan is "Do the fucking do."
I'd like to thank Matt for not making me do an erotic reading today.
I was so close, and
I know.
I decided to give you a day
close.
off. But you'll do one tonight for me personally as I go to bed. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you next time. Cheers.